Good to get to meet you. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, business, how long you've been in the business?
Yeah, likewise, Lee. Pleasure to meet you as well. Thanks for joining today. A little bit about me. I'm 33 years old, been born and raised in the industry. My pops used to run his business back in the day. I opened Custom in 2019, and we've been around for about 4 years and just making a ruckus here in the industry, trying to disrupt in a polite way and get our brand knowledge out there to the community, not just locally, but abroad as well, in the plans of our vision for expansion, and just trying to have fun doing what we do on a day-to-day basis in the roofing industry as well as the solar industry. So trying to build a culture within my brand, my team, and the industry as well to bring that hype and, excitement to the movement of roofing and solar, trying to build up a hype and create some type of, sexiness to this industry that's far been ignored for many, many years.
Yeah, man, I love it. So your dad was a roofer?
My dad was a general contractor. All of his brothers owned businesses across the country, from, framing to drywall finishing to roofing. So back when he owned his company, he was a general contractor. When I worked under him, we did a lot of light gauge and structural steel framing, and that's kind of where I got my feet wet in the industry, got to learn about running crews, running a business, job management on a commercial and residential level, things of that nature. And his company actually got us out to Florida after Hurricane Irma a few years back, and that's where I got my first taste of the insurance game. And, when we were out there, I told my pops,
Said what'd you tell your dad?
Yeah, I told my pops, how come we never ever got involved in the insurance work back home, seeing what a lucrative industry it was out there, managing multi-million-dollar claims. We were in charge of supervising the rebuild of 86 La Quinta properties up and down the state of Florida, throughout the entire state, from South Beach, Miami, down to the tip of Georgia. And we managed Interstate Restoration at the time. I believe they changed their name to First On Site, but working with that restoration company at that caliber, seeing their operations, working through the insurance claims process, it just showed me that there was a whole nother source of revenue out there that was untapped from what I had experienced in our network and in our industry here back home. So as soon as we wrapped up that project, I was eager to get back home. I was still in possession of my license here locally, and started wanting to see where I can get into the insurance game out here. So, made a couple calls, had a couple friends that were doing roofing. And when my dad had ran his company, roofing was something he always kind of stayed away from. Being here from the Southwest, we have a lot of flat roof types, and we don't have the greatest runoff or slope on those roofs. So he was always hesitant of getting involved into the roofing game out here in our hometown of New Mexico. So when we came back, I made a couple calls, got in touch with a couple buddies, and they were doing door-to-door sales. I said, that sounds good, but that's not really what I was looking into. And they said, come on, man, we just got to try it. So that's what I did. I put my faith in them, opened up a sole proprietorship, and started getting to work door to door. And we did really good, surprisingly, really fast. So about 6 months in, we had already ran about $1 million worth of work. And I said, hey, you know what? This is going to be something that's going to be sustainable. Let's go ahead and change our business to an LLC. Let's get a little bit of legal protection. So I started brainstorming names. I wanted to do things a little bit differently than my dad. He never really believed in advertising or marketing or anything of that nature. And he grew a sustainable business, but it took him a decade or so to do that. So I said, how am I going to do this, but in warp speed time? So next thing you know, that was 2019, and then 2020 hits, and the whole state shut down for COVID. So storefronts, door to door was kind of, really scarce at the time. We weren't getting a lot of response on the doors from homeowners, things like that. So at that point is where I really just kind of invested in our digital presence. And just started creating content and things of that nature to work on building the brand. I figured if I got a brand that was recognizable, when people thought of roofs or solar in our community, they would think of our brand. So that was my whole idea in branding and marketing. And I just really put all my efforts and profit into building a brand, building a marketplace, and kind of owning that within our community. And that's been great. We've been blessed to do that. We have a great local brand. So now that we've accomplished that, we're looking to expand into the Dallas market this upcoming year. And now I'm getting out, meeting folks like yourself across the country that are doing awesome things in the industry. Just networking with them, learning what they are implementing as far as processes or SOPs within their business, kind of what's working for them. I get to share what's worked for me. And then I take a little bit out of everybody's operation and kind of custom fabricate our operation and implement things that other companies are doing that are successful to bring that success to our brand as well. One of the things that people consistently ask me is, hey, you got this all figured out. And I tell them it looks that way today, but the way the algorithms change and everything, you have to be adaptable in this industry, in this market, and in branding as well. So, we're always trying to stay ahead of the curve and see what's new and up and coming, and try to be ahead of that as a company and as a brand to make sure that we're taking advantage of those market spaces that become available to us.
Love it, man. So how big is your current team right now?
The team always fluctuates, sales, there's a lot of turnover. I think one of the biggest things is the guys get out too soon versus sticking with it and waiting it out a little bit and actually reaping the benefits of the hard work that they've already invested. Our team stays about 10 people pretty consistently. At busy times, we've gotten up to 15, 17 people on board. Ideally is what I'm looking to grow is about a 15-person sustainable team here in this market, and then take a couple of the top performers to go open a new market in the new years is the ideal.
It's awesome, man. So what, in your experience, what do you think has been, what have been some of the challenges in growing and maintaining a sales team?
Definitely some of the challenges in growing the sales team is, this industry has a lot of benefits and rewards. And I think that a lot of people think that the opportunity sounds too good to be true. So I think that's like the first biggest hurdle to get over is making them believers. After you make them a believer and they see the money and they see the jobs start coming through, I think the hardest thing is keeping them committed, consistency, dedication, things of that are tough to implement in people, especially in this role because it's a 1099, independent contractor role. So it's hard as an employer or the business owner to implement a lot of things that are going to direct their day-to-day duties. So I think one of the biggest things is first, finding people that are open to the opportunity, don't think it's too good to be true, getting them to give you that blind trust and faith to put their career and their money in your hands as a business owner to lead them to that success. And then once you get them on board, it's helping them maintain that success. Because once you start making money, it's easy to take a week off or a couple of days off. And in this industry, what you're getting paid for today is the fruit of weeks prior labor on the doors, essentially. So just keeping that traction, keeping that commitment, and just staying disciplined, is one of the hardest things too. Running a very tight sales team. We want to make sure that our team adheres to certain things that we enforce as far as customer service, attire being branded on the doors, the vehicles, things of that nature. I think are some of the biggest challenges that we face. What about you, Lee, in growing your team? What are some of the challenges you face?
I think that the challenges in sales teams are all very similar. I think the first thing that we encounter in leadership is maturity levels. So I think that a majority of people in their lives have not been entrepreneurs or do not understand how to be an entrepreneur. So you'll often have times where people have gone in for 10, 15, 20 years and clocked into a 9 to 5 or a normal job. And they haven't really had to gain the maturity level of just managing themselves and maintaining themselves on a long, consistent process. So I think the first things that, I look at in my sales divisions, we have the, Pareto principle, the 80-20. So we're going to have the top 20% of the salespeople and then the bottom 80%. And the people in the 80%, generally what I see is that we're helping those people kind of mature through different levels of self-betterment, right? Where they're accountable to themselves, where they can come in and make all the meetings on time, where they can go out and knock all the hours on time, where we're enhancing their mindset and just kind of getting them built up to be the person that they need to be through a process. And that process takes time. So I think, with teams, whatever size they are, I think that maturity is the first thing that most of us are trying to teach the people that come in, especially when they haven't been in the door-to-door industry or the direct-to-home industry. They haven't really been managing and maintaining themselves. So I generally see that as the first process. And then the second part of the process, in my experience, is going to be abundance mindset. So I see a lot of people, after they have their maturity levels are increased, really getting them into an abundance mindset and out of a fixed mindset, where they can really start to see the forest past the trees, and they start to understand that, the law of attraction has a lot to do with the way that their feet are moving. If they're learning and reading, listening to podcasts, taking in content, going, trying to become a sales leader, just continuously trying to become a better human, they will always gain more and more success. And I think a lot of people, when they come in, the first thing that they're looking for is that money. And what I try to teach my people is stop looking for the how and start trying to become the who, because the person that you become ultimately is the person that makes the financial success. One of my favorite sayings is, if you want to make $1 million, stop trying to make $1 million and start learning how to become a person who knows how to make $1 million. So for me, it's really been that, in my experience, is just initially helping people become more mature than they normally have in their day-to-day responsibilities, being able to separate their personal life and their work life, showing up when it's difficult, showing up when they don't feel like it, staying consistent. And then once that maturity level increases, we go into step 2, which is just helping enhance their mindset out of the fixed mindset into an abundance mindset, where they start to realize they have the power of creation. And that's, when you surround yourself, your circle of influence. Those are just the main 2 things that I'm working on in all my sales teams.
Yeah, I love that. I always tell all my teams, sales is personal development in disguise, and we're gonna help you grow here as well. And that's one of the things that I preach consistently is culture. We want to help the guys develop personally, gain that maturity, and coach them into that abundance mindset. I like the word choice you use, that fixed mindset and abundant. I'm going to steal that and have to rehash that to my team, but I like it. I like that word choice for that. But I mean, I concur 100%. I think that that's one of the biggest challenges, and then getting them to maintain that from there and continue through the growth process once they've achieved that too. I always tell the guys, what do you do when you've reached the highest mountain? You're going to look for the next mountain. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, I mean, that's what I'm consistently telling these guys as well. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been into roofing. So you got into solar after roofing. Is that right?
Yeah. Roofing was the vehicle. Solar, we picked that up. It's honestly a great concept. And it gave us a vehicle for finance also. So, we use AccuLinks as our CRM. We have AccuFi through AccuLinks. It's a great platform. It's got a lot of tools within it. But the AccuFi finance options are, 5 to 10 years, which could be costly for a roof. So when we got partnered with Energy Road and Our World Energy, that gave us an opportunity to offer 25-year financing with 0 down, and also give them the state and federal tax rebate on top of that. So it just made sense for the pitch. It makes sense for our clients. And it was just a great value that we could bring into the business to solve other problems that we were having, like the financing. And then also solar gives you an amazing warranty. Also through Our World Energy, you do a 25-year bumper to bumper on any of the slopes that the solar system is installed on. So it's basically like an umbrella insurance policy on your roof. And if we're the roof installer and the solar sales team as well, well, then we're going to stand behind the solar install as a roofer.
I love that, man. So are you guys primarily knocking doors? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I would say about 95% of our business, let me take that back. About 90% of our business is door-to-door sales. We do get a lot of referral calls from our online efforts through Google Ads and things of that nature. And then we do have repeat clientele and referrals from friends and family as well. But I would say that the main bulk of the business is generated door-to-door.
Right. So in your training with your door-to-door guys, what are some of the wins and losses, the pros and cons, the ups and downs of door teams in your experience? Like, what are you going through with your guys?
The hardest thing is accountability right now. Right now in the summer months, it's hot. Here in New Mexico, we get a true 4 seasons. So I try to coach the guys mentally through these different seasons. I try to incentivize them to keep them out there. Things of that nature. We do trips, we do prizes, we do cash bonuses, things like that. But the biggest thing is accountability. Nobody wants to be out there 8 hours in the heat. So, we make our guys drop pins. We run a very tight ship over here. So we want to know where they're at via GPS and things of that nature. That way, if a lead calls into the office and they're on this end of town, we can quickly identify what team members in that area and get them dispatched to go handle that client for us. But again, the accountability, staying out on the doors. It's a hard job when you're going door to door and you get that customer that slams the door in your face or tells you that you're a POS for doing door to door sales, and you got to put your smile back on and go to the next door and give them that same energy that you hit the last door with a smile, professionalism, and we're just there to offer value to them and try to be of assistance in any way we can. One of the things that we do too in our door approach is we start with letting the homeowners know of surrounding jobs. Hey, you know what? We're going to be doing Miss Smith's roof down the street here. I know it's a little windy. If any of the debris or nails come into your yard or you find anything, please feel free to give me a call. I'd be happy to come out and run a magnet, pick up any trash. I would hate for the kids or your dogs to step on anything. So, feel free to give me a call. By the way, where are you guys at in the insurance claims process? Have you guys already had an inspection? Most of the time, they don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, so let me just tell you a little bit. We helped out Miss Smith down the road here through the insurance process. We gave her a visual inspection. We photo documented our findings. We came down and shared that with her. And we both agreed that it'd be in her best interest to go ahead and file a claim and let us represent her through that process. Now, I noticed when I was up on your roof, you had some of that similar damage. We just like to help you out, basically get the ball rolling from there with them. But we'll do things to incentivize the guys out on the doors. Like whoever hits 5 sales in a week, we'll do sunglasses, or we'll take them out to lunch. Or we just did an Arizona trip a couple weeks ago for some of the top performers. Went out there, just had a week of team building and boy bonding, and had some fun. Went out on the lake with our solar partners, and just had a blast.
I love it, man. We pretty similar out here. So I'm a regional for Legacy Power, and I notice different things with my different teams. I have the most control over the teams that I'm directly influencing. But in my experience with the door-to-door teams, when we run a tight ship, and for us, that means we're doing 5 correlation meetings a week. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're all meeting in the office for sales training, door pitch, going through, Q&As with leadership, the closers. We do closer training. We do solar school. So we'll do a multitude of training in the office throughout the week, and then get everybody out on doors 12 to 7. And then we have with Legacy owns Canvas, which is a proprietary app, but that allows, it's a door knocking app. So it allows us to see how many people have been knocking doors, how many doors they've knocked, how many people answer the door, how many people they had conversations with. And then we can do the key performance indicators on those at night. And then what we do generally is we post those KPIs on the threads every night with each one of the teams. And, I'm a pretty big subscriber to John C. Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, honey rather than vinegar. I think it's a lot easier to incentivize somebody to do better by just showing them that they're not doing what the rest of the team is doing. You just say, hey, everybody else is knocking 50, 60, 70, 80 doors a day. And then here you are down here with 10 or 20 doors a day. I think it just incentivizes people on the team to do more when they're around other people doing more. So, fundamentally, we have the correlations and the solar school and the closer training all throughout the week. And then we keep performance indicators throughout the day with GroupMe and different things, taking pictures in Hood and then doing the KPIs at night. It's, and it goes back to the maturity levels. You're just going to have, the top 20% of people. We did a podcast with Ty Williams from Sunrun. He's the VP over there. And one of the things that he said always stuck with me. There's those who can see it when shown, and those who can't see it. And the people who can just see it, in my experience, are the people that just come in. They understand the workflow. They understand that if they work all the hours, that they're going to make the money. They can see other people in the room making 2, 3, 4, 500,000, $1 million a year, doing the same thing that they're doing, and they can just see the path to progression. And those people are the easiest to work with, and in my experience, need the least amount of work because they just go out and get it. And then there's people who see it when shown, where they can kind of see the landscape of what's happening, but they're not quite sure how to get to every step. And so they need a little bit of guidance throughout that. And that could be the maturity level. That could be, increasing their an abundance mindset, and then just walking them through that. And those people are great too. And then what Ty said was there's those who can't see it. And those are just the people that just constantly need motivation. They can't make correlation on time. They're always complaining about the doors. They're not working all the hours. They're just not in it. They're never reading books. They're never listening to podcasts. They're never taking in content, and they just are not successful. And I just don't get along with those people. And so what we try and do in our offices is create an environment where the people who can't see it just feel uncomfortable. And so it's rare for us actually to have to terminate somebody. They'll just drop off because they're around so many other high-level performers. They feel uncomfortable. So when you're constantly the guy getting, 10 doors or 20 doors knocked, and everybody else is knocking 50 to 100 doors a day, you just start to feel uncomfortable when you're bageling every day. And so what we're trying to do is just create an environment of high achievers that are constantly motivated. And so the culture is based around a whole person paradigm with mental, spiritual, physical, and financial aspects to it, where we're trying to help people grow as human beings, let them give to other people, teach. But it all revolves around high work ethic, high performance level, high knocking doors, and a consistent effort for the year-round program to just go. That's really similar. It's just having a rudder on the boat, having direction, and having a culture of work ethic, I think.
Yeah, I love it. And Lee, it sounds like your guys' firm is a lot bigger than ours. So that makes the question arise in my head. How are you guys recruiting these high-level achievers? What are your guys' recruiting efforts like? Or do you guys market job ads? Or what's kind of your people in the door?
It's a really good question. So, I mean, at this level, most of it is attraction rather than promotion, but the promotion being there. So, we do a lot of social media marketing, quite a bit on Instagram. We'll do some TikTok stuff, a little bit of Facebook stuff, mostly on Instagram. But at a certain point in the game, the scale just tips over into more people know about you than don't, and they see the successes, and so they see the other human successes. And I think where people, fail to realize the biggest power in recruiting is that your team is your biggest recruiter, or your teams are your biggest recruiters. That organic recruiting comes primarily from your success and your team success. So each team member being able to talk about their success with other people and being attractive. So they are promoting it, on Instagram or in their life, how they're living their lives with their friends, their old friends. They kind of see what their new life looks like. So it's just promotion through attraction. But that promotion aspect in a team is an ecosystem. And so, the team members have to be happy with leadership, and leadership should lead through servitude. They have to be happy with the construction process. So whether it's roofing or solar, their homeowners need to be happy. So they're not getting calls that are constantly negative about their homeowners. their sales processes, their education, what they're getting in the office. Are they growing as human beings? All of those things are what create a really good culture. And when people are happy in those cultures, they naturally will promote for recruiting for you, because people want to know, what are you doing? Why is your life changing so much? You're talking different, you're acting different, your social media is different, you're driving different cars. Like, they can see that the person is different mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, and that becomes attractive. And there comes a time when that just starts to scale over, and there's so many people that more people come in. But at every level of the game throughout my career, it's really been that. It's been the attraction through the promotion. When I first started in the dealer program, I started in Vivint 7 years ago. I was the National Sales Rookie of the Year for Vivint. I knocked for Vivint for 2 years, and then I went into solar, started a dealer. But, for my first 3 years, I was all in on doors. And so what I was doing was attractive. The finances that I was making was attractive. I've still read books, but I've always constantly, increased my knowledge level through books and podcasts and just content, talking to people. I have a podcast where I'm constantly talking to people. So the more that I've grown, the more attractive I've become. And they say leadership is influence. And so in my experience, the greater influence that I've had through my experiences in doing hard things and being an achiever and being able to say, hey, I can do it. That's what a recruit's looking for. They're looking for, have you done it? Can I do it too? And what program or process do you have to put me in that will help me push through that? And so, recruiting it's a big world. And I think a lot of people underestimate it. You want to have as many fishing lines in the water as you can get. I think one or two of those lines may be a ZipRecruiter. One of those lines may be an Instagram. But we're constantly, at Legacy, we're having warehouse parties, we're doing office parties, we're doing UFC parties. We're constantly talking about recruiting in our correlation meetings. We're bringing it up. We're doing incentives for recruiting. So it's a constant effort to talk to other people about recruiting. And then we go through path to progression for our reps. You have to help them understand that they need to stop acting like the person that they are and start acting like the person that they want to become. And at some point in this industry, for everybody to be successful, people need to realize that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And the only way to gain more is to expand our bandwidth. And the only way to expand bandwidth is to recruit and to train somebody, retain somebody, and maintain somebody so that they can become a leader. And so the wider your bandwidth, the greater, your force. So it's just a constant effort in putting as many lines as I can in the water for recruiting. And it just becomes the main hat that I'm wearing.
I love it. That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, 100%, man. So what do you like better, roofing or solar?
I mean, roofing is what I know the best. The solar is very interesting, especially the person that I partnered with and the knowledge base that they have. It's been the first time I've ever been able to have a lot of calculations in the solar industry really explained to me, to where I can explain them to potential clients and my team as well, and training them. So roofing is what I know, and it's kind of been the vehicle to my success. But I definitely see solar possibly surpassing that. I mean, there's a lot of money in the solar industry with the right training and the right team. It's a very green market here in New Mexico, so I'm very intrigued by it. I love doing things that are hard. I love challenging myself, and I love the opportunity of growth. So solar is all of that to me in my brand. So I think that as I learn more about solar, we're closing and locking up more solar deals. I'm liking solar just as much as roofing. I mean, they go hand in hand. They're both on the rooftop for the most part. So solar is something. I mean, I couldn't imagine roofing without solar or solar without roofing. I mean, it's in my head truly a match made in heaven. And just talking to our World Energy and these guys, I mean, they need roofers just as much as roofers need the financing for the roof. So I think that's a great partnership, and there's great opportunity to be had in both industries, and especially collaborating those two industries together, I think is the real W out there. That's the real win is doing roofing and solar. So I think that me and my partner that we decided to partner with have both found that out, that we have great value that we both bring to the table. Him on the solar side, me on the roofing side. And I know that he wouldn't be able to get solar installed on a lot of the roofs that he's selling solar deals on if he didn't have a roofer to get that roof. And, that what came in within price to make the whole deal work out. So I truly think that they complement each other equally. And I truly think that there's equal opportunity for growth in both industries. And I'm excited because this industry is green, like I mentioned, and us being on the forefront of it, creating content, being leaders of this movement. I think that it's going to be exciting here in a couple of years to see what we built.
Yeah, I love that, man. You guys, I own, excuse me, I own a roofing company here in Vegas, Fortitude, and unlike you guys, we do not have storm out here, man. So my margins are so much less than you guys. We're trying to eke out some margins, but I actually started my roofing company 2 years ago, just out of the sheer need of the solar. We were doing so much solar volume. We actually sent a roofing company here about $500,000 in business over the span of a couple of years. And I'm just letting the finances escape. But I agree with you, man. I think that, the integrity in the sales process, when somebody actually does need a roof, it can be a perfect opportunity for them to get it. And just, the two things really do match, man. So I'm glad that you found some pretty good success in it, man. So how is the market out there for solar? It's fresh, or?
It's really fresh. I mean, just hearing other people on podcasts and, Cody Landis, one of the big guys that I listen to, owner of Reimagine Roofing, he kind of put the idea in my mind. We're part of the Pitch Pro movement that's arranged and hosted by Adam Benzman. And he's got some great leaders involved in that. Cody Landis, he's got Jim Ali, John Cenac. I heard you mention him a while ago, Deshaun Bryant. So, having access to those guys and hearing what they say about the market. Cody's right out of Arizona, so he's real familiar with this region. And, everybody's saying that solar is really green here. I mean, even driving around, we don't run into a lot of red zone areas out here. So that's great. And they're still giving a fabulous state and federal incentive here in our market. It's about 40% in total, 30 on the federal, 10 on the state. So utilizing that incentive to sell is also great. And utilizing that incentive to highlight the opportunity of getting the roof involved as well. Hey, we're going to get you solar and a roof, but here's the big thing. We're going to save you 40% on that roof because of the incentives that are available to you. So utilizing that in the pitch and, just educating the homeowners is definitely makes it easy out here for the sale. It always makes sense when we do our presentation. And if it doesn't, well, we're going to be the first one to tell the homeowner that it doesn't make sense and why. But all in all, it's a pretty green market. We don't run into too many hiccups here as far as red zones or anything like that. The biggest thing we run into in our market is getting the homeowner to qualify.
Yeah. I love it, man. So you said that you love doing hard things, man. Help me unpack what that's done for you in your life.
It comes from a quote that was shared with me a long time ago. I hope I don't butcher this too bad, but it goes something along the lines like, good things don't come easy and easy things aren't good. So if I could just reflect and think about where I am today and how I got here, it wasn't like the clickbait you see on those where you could just get rich overnight or day trading or anything like that. Growing up, I was, seeing my parents struggle and work through many things throughout their lives and seeing that they were able to overcome those and have greatness out of it. And everything that I can think of as far as what I've attained as far as success is rooted in hard work. I tell everybody, you're not going to get here without blood, sweat, and tears. If you think there's any shortcut, there's the door, because there is no shortcut in life. There's no shortcut to success. You're going to put into it what you get out of it. So if you're going to give it hard work, you're going to reap the fruit of the benefits. If you're going to, give it half effort, expect half the benefit. You can't give it half effort and expect to get the full reward. And I mean, that's not just in, door-to-door sales. I mean, in my personal opinion, that's life. I mean, that's the lessons and things that I preach to my children and you know, my team and everybody in my circle. I also think that you know, that whenever you work hard for something, you appreciate it that much more because it was your sweat, your dedication, your consistency, your discipline that got you to that elevated moment. And then when you think back and, you know, think about when you reflect and think how you were successful and how you failed, you look at those points and sometimes for me personally, when I fail, it's when I took my foot off the gas. It's when I got comfortable. It's when I thought I was ahead, you know. So those are lessons that I've learned, and that just you know, fuels my fire every day to go harder. You know, I consistently tell my wife, my teams, anybody in my circle, you know, every morning you wake up, there's somebody out there that's working harder than you to take what you've built. So I wake up every morning, I give thanks for my blessings, and I get to work. I know that that those blessings are going to take more hard work, more dedication, more discipline, and that's the only way they're going to be maintained, and that's the only way we're going to grow is consistency through the process.
I love that, man. Yeah, I see what I see a lot is that people are constantly looking for motivation as their initial factor in trying to become successful, and they'll see you know, people who they admire or that they aspire to be or who they look up to, and that look at that individual can be motivating, whether it's in fitness or work or career or finance or family. And, you know, I'll see a lot of people get to work and then fail because they're expecting that motivation to hold true. And kind of what I'm hearing from you is it's a matter of doing hard things. And I find the same thing to be true, is that the more hard things that I've done, the more I've believed in myself and been able to do more hard things. And in my experience, what happens is the work comes first and then the motivation comes second, because, you know, it's just like going to the gym. If you go to the gym for a week, you're not really going to see any results. You have to go month after month after month. And then when you go for an extended period of time, the compound effect takes place, and you've done those hard things without seeing much results for an extended period of time. And then finally you start seeing results, and that is where you start to get the motivation. And then you start to see things building, start to see your mind building, your spirit building, your body's building, your finances building, your family life increasing, just in the job that we do. And so I'll see people get in this and just try and use motivation as their primary factor and fail, right? You have to get in this and just understand that it's going to be hard work. You are going to fail. You need to fail forward. Every day is not going to be easy. In fact, most of them are going to be hard. We're going to face ourselves in ways that we haven't had to face ourselves in the door-to-door world or the direct-to-home world before, whether that's, you know, subcategories like separating our life from our work, being able to go to work when you had a hard day at home yesterday or something's gone wrong, but still be able to go out and do those things day in and day out when you're not really seeing the successes that you thought you'd see. Eventually they'll come if you just stay in the game. And then when they come, that's when you start to get motivated, because you can look around, really see the changes that have happened in your life, mentally, spiritually, financially. You've grown as a person. And that's when the motivation comes, in my experience. So I agree with you 100%. If I'm not in the middle of doing hard things, or I'm not building anything or trying to build something or trying to lift something heavier in my life, I feel uncomfortable at this point in my life. I'm constantly looking for hard things, new challenges, because I know that that's where all my growth happens. And I've been doing this, 7 years now, and I really attribute who I am as a man now to my career in door-to-door and direct-to-home, because it's made me face myself in so many different ways that, I've gotten so comfortable being uncomfortable that when I'm not doing hard things or challenges, I don't feel satisfied. I get after myself. I'm like, what's going on, man? We got to go get after it. So yeah, I love what you said, man. It's just getting in and doing hard things.
Yeah. When you're not, you don't feel like you're fulfilling your purpose, or like you're taking a day off or something, it's just like skipping a rep at the gym, right? You gotta make sure you get them all in. Even if nobody else is watching, you're only cheating yourself. So, I mean, I love that. And I think, one of the things that I tell my students, one of the reasons I do that is we get to do hard things together. We get to, push each other through the failing points and lift each other up as a team. Hey, come on, man, you got that. 5 more reps. We're all watching you. We're all here with you. We support you. But one of the things that we've learned in working out together as a team is that our minds are weaker than our bodies.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times when you look at that weight, mentally, your mind immediately says, I can't lift that. And then your body follows action to your mind. So what I'm trying to train these guys through this exercise is you can do it. You just need to tell yourself that you can, and then let's do it. And surprisingly enough, these guys get this strength and they do it. And, they didn't believe in themselves at first, but we worked through it together. And now they know that they can do anything that they truly put their mind to. So I love working out with a team. That's one of the biggest team building things that we do. And again, we hold each other accountable to that. If we have one of the guys there training us and he's training us for free, well, everybody better show up and everybody better be on time because this person cared enough about us to do that for us. So we got to reciprocate that respect, be here on time and show up.
I love that, man. Isn't it just, it's interesting how, and I've had people believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. But, I think that one of my favorite parts about being a leader is believing in people when they can't believe in themselves. And I'll have, some of the most motivated people. And I really prescribe to, the old SEAL saying that, the man that needs motivating is motivating. But I'll have motivated people who are just out, working their ass off and grinding and gritting. And they just they'll stop believing in themselves, or they don't believe in themselves. And as a leader, being able to come in and just give them that extra push and just say, hey, I see you working. I believe in you. I know you can do this. You got this. And watching them kind of push through that. I love that message, man, that the mind is weaker than the body. It's like the negative self-talk, all that can get in there. And just as a leader, literally one of my favorite parts of the job is we just get to help people grow and aspire to be better people, man. Dope.
Yeah. I always tell the guys, my success is rooted on your guys' success. So you guys got to be open and transparent and tell me what it is that you guys need help with so we can grow together as a team, overcome things as a team, and lift each other up as a team. But I think it's important to help these guys grow to that maturity level, learn about your guys and invest in them as well. Because when they see me out there at the gym with them, it's a different feel for them. Like, it's not just, hey, this is what we were ordered to do. We got the boss out here with us. He's doing the same stuff we're doing. Let's do it, guys. And that brings that camaraderie of the team and just to show everybody that, hey, we're all in this together. So, that's why I do it. I love it. And it's also a great recruiting ground too. People, hey, what are you guys all doing here working out as a team? Kind of creates that interest, and then they start talking to the guys. You get a couple of recruits out of it here and there. So it's a good good opportunity.
I love it, man. Before we wrap up, I want to get your number at the end of this, but so I had Deshaun Bryant come down to Vegas. I think it was last year. I recorded his training. It was on YouTube, but he came down and spent some time with the team. And I was actually at dinner with Deshaun and before the meeting, and he changed my paradigm on the maturity level. So for years in my career, I thought that, people were coming in and they weren't failing because I had placed it on a lack of abundance mindset, where I just thought they have this fixed mindset and they just cannot see the forest past the trees. They just will not believe in themselves. And I was having that discussion with Deshaun at dinner, and he says, there's a step before that. And that's where I got my paradigm on that, was from him. He says, it's maturity. You'll have 25, 30-year-old, 35-year-old people who have been just going in and clocking in to a job, and they've never actually physically had to manage themselves, right? They've never actually had to believe in themselves. They were just, kind of put into the matrix, and this is where you're going to sit. This is what you're going to do. Somebody's controlling you. Where, direct to home is very different. You come into the training meetings and you do that, but then you're out on your own, your spirit. You have to put everything home at home and go out and knock doors and bring that energy to it. And a lot of people don't have that maturity. And that night at dinner with Deshaun, he really changed my paradigm on that. So it was interesting that you mentioned him. I actually know Cody too. So this is dope, man. It's been cool getting to know you, man.
Yeah, likewise. I'd love to stay connected with you and continue to chat going forward.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate your time and connecting today.